Transformers Versus. Today we are going to see how Leader Class Generations Jetfire stacks up against Leader Class Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire. As you can see, Generation Leader Class Jetfire is based on, well, you can also call him Skyfire. That's what his name in the original G1 cartoon was, and that's what he's based on, his G1 Jetfire. Especially if you see it in robot mode. Vehicle mode seems to be more based on the actual original G1 toy of Jetfire / Skyfire. And then Leader Class Revenge of the Fallen, obviously, is from the film Revenge of the Fallen. And they both have sort of a similar aspect to them. In the original G1 cartoon, Skyfire Jetfire got pulled out of some ice, then met up with Starscream, who used to be his buddy, who actually eventually betrayed him. So he actually started off as a Decepticon, but then he realised he was good, and joined the Autobots. And actually became their main mode of transportation for a while. Wow! Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire was a Decepticon that apparently betrayed them in order to sort of try and save the universe somehow. He was looking for a Prime or something. I can't remember that movie, it was awful. But yeah, he was a Decepticon that betrayed them and sort of joined the Autobots. So they sort of have similar continuities to them, and a similar trait, but that's probably about as much similarity as you're going to see. Okay, we're going to start off with Generations Leader Class Jetfire. And he is a fantastic white and red. Look at that shiny chrome. Might even be able to see myself in the camera. Almost. Yeah, he is some sort of... He basically looks like an Earth jet, just with extra stuff bolted onto him. Fantastic looking figure. All the panel line details. And then underneath you can see he's sort of a robot folded up. But actually from the side, because the leg does quite a good job of blocking the view, he looks like a jet that's kind of got a second canopy hiding under here. Lots and lots of boosters. And again, unless you look at him directly from underneath, he just looks like a cool jet. He's got his landing gear, and actually rolls quite well for an aeroplane. Whee! For gimmicks in this mode, we have a firing missile. There we go. Now let me go find that missile. But yeah, really nice looking jet. You can fold the wings up, so he's going even faster. Fold up the landing gear, and there he goes. Now you've got many ways you can have all this weaponry, or you can take it all off. See, rear landing gear is always there. It doesn't intrude too much. Front landing gear just folds up nicely up there. Let's put all these shiny. Sorry, I've just been watching Beware the Batman lately. And Magpie from there likes shiny. And there we have just a nice looking jet. This looks a lot more Earth-like when he's taken all the extra bits off. But still lovely looking. And yeah, as I say, you can put the weapons in his hands. You've got the leg holes up here. Hole on the wing. Hole on the front. And then you've also got holes on the side of here, which you can plug anything into. We can make some sort of giant mamma jamma weapon. Yeah, I just wish there was a... See, now you want to fire easily missile. Get back in there. Yeah, I do wish that would be able to sit in the middle. But unfortunately, no. and then you can clip that back on, and there he's got millions of guns on his back. But yeah, the only real good place for this is right in the center. You could have it under one wing, but for a jet you generally want symmetry. Yeah, fantastic jet mode. And here is Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Jetfire. And I haven't actually transformed this thing in like years. I forgot just how good this thing looks. Ugh. And how big it is. Got some nice detail there. Even got some nice little writing, and even writing that's almost too small for me to read. Jetfire. And there you can see his scratched off Decepticon symbols. Lovely detail. I assume this is some sort of American thing, this skunk. But yeah, same on both sides. But yeah, lots and lots of detail. Yeah. It's basically a plane sitting on a bunch of robot parts. You can even see that it's sort of his hands there. So it doesn't look the best from the sides, but from above it looks fantastic. And underneath, though I suppose you can't tell that well because of the Michael Bay design. You can kind of see what things are, but it doesn't 100% look like a robot. But yeah, I actually think this is an absolutely beautiful figure. He's got his two big old jets at the back. As for gimmicks, again, we have a firing missile. Doesn't fire quite as far as Generations Jetfire, but still pretty far. And then this also has sounds. So you can pretend he is flying around. And let's see if you can see that. A light, I never actually noticed that shone down there. There you go, and there's a single flashy light there. Don't quite know its purpose for jet mode, but it's a thing. And let's get a little bit of a size comparison going on here. For scale, what I'm going to do for every size comparison is bring in our trusted friend MP10 Optimus Prime. And also bring in our other trusted friend, because frankly I think these are probably going to be the two most common pieces in people's collections. I'm actually quite impressed with how well that's sort of just standing up on its end. So yeah, you can see how tall he is. But then, if we just move him back slightly, let's put our Revenge of the Fall. Don't beat up the other primes. You're meant to be an Autobot now, for God's sake. Stand. Yeah, you can see this is a much longer figure. It towers above those. There we go, you can see just how much longer it is. Impressive size. Now, as for which one has the better jet mode, frankly I was going into this thinking it was just going to be a complete and utter, yeah, Generations class Jetfire is going to take it all, but Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire his jet mode is far better than I remember it being. But I'm still going to lean towards Generations Jetfire as the better vehicle mode. They've both got a firing missile, so gimmicks aren't a real thing. I'm not too impressed by a little whooshing sound. So yeah, Generations Jetfire, it's just a nice solid jet. You can put weaponry everywhere. It looks better from more angles. Well, this is a really nice sort of long, big stealth jet. It does have its issues with sort of panels popping apart, and Generations just more solid. So, winner of the first round is Generations Jetfire. Skyfire. Jetfire, Skyfire. I know. What you want? Generations, Leader Class, Skyfire, Jetfire. It's a really fun, intuitive conversion. I figured it out the first time without any instructions, which I always think is a good thing. And just everything slots into place, clicks into place, nice and simply. The only difficult part is the chest compartment as it comes down. It can sometimes be a bit hard to wiggle it free, but with a little bit of persuasion it will come through. General transformation time into robot mode took me 2 minutes 36 seconds, 2 minutes 16 seconds, 1 minute 50 seconds. Going from robot to vehicle mode took me 2 minutes 51 seconds, 2 minutes 11 seconds, 2 minutes 36 seconds, making it a nice easy transformation, but it is effective and does exactly what it needs. Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Jetfire. This is a frustrating transformation. Before I had these 3 goes at it, it took me over half an hour to figure out the transformation. I don't think I managed it with instructions back in the day when I got this figure. It is a tough one to do. Particularly the panels behind the head, I barely managed to do a transformation without them falling off. I think every single time they came off. And then just trying to line up every single one of these panels and tabs in the back section of the jet and trying to get those big jet engines in line is a very, very tricky prospect. This is not a fun transformation. It is a chore, and I was almost depressed doing this 3 times in a row. Though, I did manage to do 2 robot mode in 3 minutes 47 seconds, 3 minutes 29 seconds, 2 minutes 47 seconds. And then the more tricky one into jet mode is 6 minutes and 9 seconds, 5 minutes and 13 seconds, 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Yeah, this is a very tricky transformation. So, for the winner of transformation, it has to be Generations Jetfire. And here we have Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class Jetfire. And he's quite an impressive, chunky guy. He's quite hunched over because he's meant to be based on like a really old man. Including walking stick, which he doesn't really hold that well. He just sort of grabs it in his fingers, articulated fingers. So you just pop it in, he holds it. And then he's gonna go teach those young whippersnappers a thing or two. Yeah. I have to admit, it's quite silly. I can accept the fact that Transformers have beards, but the fact that they get old and become grandpas, that's odd. Because imagine how tall he would be if his legs weren't basically zigzags. And this is where there's an issue, because this is just a ratchet joint that does not, a lot of the times, feel strong enough to hold his own weight up. So in some positions you can hold him and he'll just collapse back. His feet are big enough, they're going to support him, it's just those joints sometimes do not want to hold his weight. So you have to be quite particular in where you actually place this guy. Oh, there he goes again. Like, if you do it slowly, sometimes they will hold just a bit better. but other times they're not going to do so much. But yeah, I do really like his weapon. It's a missile launcher, which to me doesn't make sense because it looks really good as like a Gatling gun. So for him, I prefer to take the missile out, as I probably do with most of my figures, just so they don't fire off. But yeah, he doesn't use any standardized pegs, so you can't switch out. It's a very specialized clip they have in there, and slots onto this metal bar. Very strange way to do things. But yeah, you can see he's a nice detailed figure. Good movement, just a bit weird at times. He has all the articulation, but it's just his arms can be... See, that's sort of his arms straight. This doesn't move, so he never gets perfectly straight in whatever position you put him in. But he can be quite expressive. I really do like that detail on his hand. And yeah, this amount of like pipes and wiring work that go on in these figures is really impressive. But even like his kneecap is kind of a... what do you call them? Some sort of engine turbine, that's the one I was looking for. And yeah, his feet, again, because there's another gimmick that I'll show you later, his feet tend to fall apart. So you need to try and get them to sit right, and they'll stay together. Yeah, hips are very well articulated, but because of how this knee extends, you don't get much out of it. Get kind of a kung fu grandpa pose. Oh wow, he actually stood. Probably actually better if you fold the legs right up, and then he can look like he's squatting. Fantastic. Also got these big old things on the back that are fully articulated. They can stick out. Oh, and there we go. His body clips together. You get that fantastic. There is it. Find the holes. Transformation sound, but because you need to squeeze the figure and he's got this button on the back that makes him whoosh, you quite often cancel that out. And apart from that firing missile we saw in... oh, see, this guy is just so unwieldy sometimes. The joints are generally strong enough apart from those knees. It's just trying to get him into those sort of poses. There we go, so he's actually standing quite tall here. I've actually got to slide the camera back. Let's see if we can slide him back without... There's the big Mama Jamma. And let's do his other gimmick, which is you pull down this lever here.
Jetfire's my name. Jetfire's my name.
Yeah, doesn't that just
Jetfire's my name.
sound exactly like he did
Jetfire's my name.
in the movie?
Jetfire's my name.
Yeah, they really did not get the voice at all, even slightly right. It's just kind of going Irish, because...
Jetfire's my name.
And then that's all he says, is Jetfire's my name. So he's a polite robot, he can introduce himself. And you got these bits... Again, that button on the back. You have these bits that sort of just dangle in the way. Again, they're used for a different form. But again, playing with him for the first time in ages, he's actually better than I remember him. It's just you try and do that transformation after not touching this guy for a couple of years, and that's a steep learning curve. I think the first time took me literally half an hour to get him transformed. And here is Jetfire's other gimmick, is to merge with Leader Class Optimus Prime to create this big bad Mama Jamma. You see he gets his little machine gun, slots onto the side. One of his back panels comes off and forms a big blaster with a really small barrel. And yeah, then all his thrusters and his arms make all this big. Now, his arms are still mobile, but his legs, because of how Jetfire's body and then his legs fold up and fit into Optimus Prime's feet, making Optimus even taller than he was. But it also means that his legs are just now static blocks. So this is a good display thing, but it's not. It basically takes you back to a Power Ranger where all he can do is move his arms. And let's just bring in Generations Jetfire and see how he's dwarfed by the combination of two leader classes. And size comparison time. Let's put him against his competitor. And yeah, head height, they're about the same height, but this Jetfire just has so much more mass to him. Like, there's a lot more weight. This is really light. But, oh, it's just so much. I think most people prefer robots that look like robots. He's nice, strong, heroic stand to him. Next to MP10. And his wave mate. Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime. There they are together. So, fairly big figures. And here is the young Whippersnapper. Generations Jetfire. And he is beautiful. Love that head sculpt and face mask. These turbines, I like them sticking up because they actually look like jetpacks for him. And I quite like it when there's extra bits sticking off my robots. But if you want to neaten that up, all you got to do, pull down the nose, rotate, and that'll just make him a little bit cleaner. But for me, I like things sticking up and looking menacing. I don't know if that's the right word. But yeah, he's got that. He's got guns on his forearms. He's got guns on his legs, so if he bends his knees, pew! And he's just got a big old gun in his hand. An impressive looking guy here. Oh, that's shiny chrome. It's a bit scary to take on and off. Yeah, you can already see I'm sort of... Ooh, hello. Here, they're losing some chrome from where it goes on and off. As for gimmicks, he's got the firing missile, and that's pretty much it. Apart from he works with all standard 5mm pegs, which I hate it when Transformers don't do that, because it gives you so much more options to use. So you can put the weapons in different places. I've shown you can spin this around, you can take it right off if you want. Or you can clip all... This is actually how I generally prefer to have... See, this is how I display my Jetfire. Is with those leg bits, because I don't think it's good having guns pointing up into your own armpits. I like to display them with that gun. Just makes it look a little bit different from vehicle mode gun, and looks a bit impressive. But you can take off these wrist guns, and also add them on there. So he just has some massive 5-barrel gun of death, which almost sort of looks like its own little aeroplane. And I suppose his other gimmick is this cool looking face shield. Can pop off. Oh, you can just see that light piping working. Let's zoom in a bit. And there is an absolutely beautiful G1 cartoon inspired head sculpt. And even look at the detail on the neck. Love this guy. As cool as I do think that is, I really do like this face mask on him. That just clips on and off. And you can still see those eyes blazing through. Good light piping on this figure. I've shown him against his rival in this competition. And here he is against MP10. and Revenge of the Fallen. You see, he's sort of... Oh, that's come unclipped. See, he's a bit shorter than even MP10. So, well, he's a leader class. He's not a masterpiece class, so he's not meant to scale that well with them. Let's find some other size comparisons. Is Skyfire Jetfire with his buddy Starscream, the original Generations version, and the fullest Cybertron version. And yeah, you can see he scales really well with them, because in the original G1 cartoon, he was a giant robot. Their sizes tend to be a bit inconsistent in G1, of course, but yeah, looks really good with these two. And there's going to be one other comparison I think needs to be done with this guy. And here we have Generations Leader Class Jetfire next to Generations Voyager Class Jetfire. And as you can see, they're the same robot homage. Proportions are better on the Leader Class, but still the Voyager looks fantastic. And I'm hard pressed to tell you to buy this one over this one, because he's got nice looking handgun, two firing missiles on the wrists, wrist mounted lasers. He's even got ear machine guns in this form, though I do really like the sort of pointed, slanted ear phones he has. But the major thing that this one does is this backpack. That booster looks amazing, that one's a little bit piddly. But this backpack does something. You pull that down, and then flips out shoulder mounted laser cannons. I wish this dude did that. If he did that, then I would recommend him over the Voyager class, just because it gives a reason for these big jetpack thing. So if it was out of these two, I would actually recommend the Voyager. Though the Leader is a fantastic version. Don't worry, we'll get to this guy in another review. I just thought these two needed to show what they look like together. And there we have these two in jet mode. You can see the Voyager one has more of a squared off nose. That's more in line with the cartoon model. But yeah, this is a much nicer looking just jet in general. But they do the same thing, all the armour pulls off, and then you get a basic plane mode. Again, there's just... I don't know if I could recommend this guy over this guy. Especially given like the price difference. That's my only concern. Okay, and final decision time. Which figure is better? I think the Generations is an absolutely beautiful figure. It's very reminiscent of G1, toy and cartoon. A fantastic representation of that character. But yeah, how much more accurate to the movie could you get than this guy? He's got all the visual cues. He's got his really weird
Jetfire's my name.
accent, but we can forgive that. And yeah, the question comes to what defines it as the best? If we're looking for the best G1 representation, we have a winner. Best movie representation, we have a winner. But it's not such a clear... I thought I was going to come into this and just say, yeah, Generations far better than this figure, but I am really struggling to justify Generations' price. I know he's got the size for a leader, but he feels so light when you hold him next to Revenge of the Fallen. And this guy also has lights, sounds, an alternative transformation where he combines with another figure. A more complicated transformation. So I'm struggling to justify when this guy has well, actually feels like almost simpler transformation than his Voyager counterpart, and also has less gimmicks than his Voyager counterpart. I'm struggling to... As a toy, yes, I think this guy is the best, but for that price, I have to admit, I struggle recommending Generations Leader, Skyfire Jetfire, just for I don't think he deserves the price point. He's quite light, there's not much going on in the transformation. Unless this chrome costs a lot of money, I do not know why this figure is priced the way it is. I can understand... I feel this even came out at a higher price point than this did. I managed to get him a little bit cheaper roaming around online, but... this guy was cheaper and he does so much more for a toy. For a child's toy, he does so much more. So I'm actually going to have to give the victory to our floppy-legged old man here. I did not know I was going to do that until I looked at all the facts, played with them a lot today. And yes, Jetfire, Revenge of the Fallen Leader Class, beats Generations Leader Class Jetfire. Now, feel free to give me your pros and cons for both figures. Tell me how right I am. Tell me how wrong I am, because I know this is going to be quite a controversial decision, especially for fans. But I'm trying to look at every aspect of this toy. And the more I played around with him today, the more I thought he was so... like, all the stuff he can do is amazing. And this guy, I really like him. Nice, simple transformation, fantastic. But the price for what he can do is too much. Why was he not along the lines of Tidal Wave? He was a massive leader... well, you can't even see my hand. Tidal Wave was a massive leader class size figure, but still done for a Voyager price. I do not see what he gets that deems this price point. So yeah, let's have a big old argument online. If there's any verses you want to see, let me know. I'm planning to do it by which is the best of a certain character. Just if there's like two motorbikes, put them together. The next series I'm planning to do is probably Predacons versus Dinobots. Gonna do a few of those. And also, I'll just do some original Generations versus movie toys. If you've got a good idea for a theme that I should do a versus on, let me know. I've got a fairly good collection involving Cybertron, not much Armada, Energon, a few animated, but all the Prime, recent Generations... and actually I've got some alternatives as well. So yeah, send me a message and I will do my best to fulfill your requests. This is the Black White Soul. Please subscribe, let me know what I can do to help you. And until next time, TTFN.
What you want?